Doc, we need you. What do we got?
She's not responding and she's barely breathing.
My baby.
What was she doing before she was found?
I don't know, she was just out the front of the house talking to the neighbor's kid, Jeremy.
Describe Jeremy.
Jeremy? I don't know, I mean, he's a kid, he's a little odd.
Come on, describe him.
I don't know, I mean, I've barely ever seen him outside. I've only ever seen him eat ramen noodles and never look you directly in the eye and he'll happily trap you in a one-sided conversation for an hour about the hidden blade mechanism and the creed of assassins.
Oh, the hidden blade is damn cool. How old is she?
She's 22.
22. 6'7". No response.
6'7"? What is 6'7"?
Where do you get your news from?
Me? What?
Where do you get your news from?
I don't know, my TV in my living room like everybody else.
Like everybody else, I knew it.
What?
How much time does your daughter spend on the internet?
The internet?
Yes, the internet.
I don't know, I mean, not that much. I mean, she's always out playing sports or at the mall with her friends or she's always reading her Sergei Mass books.
The apple seldom falls far from the tree. She's just like you.
What? I didn't do any of that.
She's a normie.
A normie?
Yes, a normie, which is why the high dose of internet-grade autism irradiated at her from Jeremy was a near-fatal dose.
Fatal?
Yes, near-fatal. We need to counteract the autism with normie shit. You, put on some trashy EDM.
You two, make small talk about the weather. Hey, Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner broke up.
You won't see them together at Coachella this year.
But Kylie posted about them going on Instagram just last week.
She's back. We've got her back.
Yes. Everyone on Facebook is being so worried. What did you say she is? That I am? What?
Yeah, normie.
What's a normie? Is that a medical thing?
What's a normie? Said the normie.
Who are you talking to?
You wouldn't get it.
Okay. Are you like friends with Jeremy or something?
You and your ilk are so insufferable. If I'd known your daughter was a normie, I don't think I would have helped her.
Excuse me?
One less bottomless pit of consumption, am I right? Based.
Watch it, pal.
Oh, please. This is literally you. Hey, how are you? Hey, yeah, good. How are you? Hey, yeah, good. Like, as if you normie. Hey, I got promoted at work. Hey, that's great. Hey, I'm gonna buy a new car with my money. Hey, that's great. Like, really? Normie! Hey, I met this girl. I think I love her. Hey, that's amazing. You're gonna marry her? I really love to. Then what, kids? That'd be a dream. Like, get a fucking life. Normie.
Mom, Dad, I have the letter right here. I'm gonna open it.
Honey, first, your mother and I want you to know no matter what is in that letter, we love you and we are so proud of you. That's right, my darling, okay? No matter what.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Mom. I love you guys.
We love you too, honey. Now, let's see what it says.
Okay, here we go.
I got it! You got me!
That's my girl.
Congratulations!
Oh, you're normies. Normie!
What is your problem?
It's not just my problem, it's the problem. You and your kind. Normies, you mindless. You want to know what a normie is? You want a definition? I'll give you one.
The normie is a spineless, soulless, empty cask of flesh devoid of all humanity. It has not a single unique thought or idea, no. Instead, it outsources its every internal and aesthetic alignment to the prevailing trend of the current cultural zeitgeist, which it will defend reflexively and thoughtlessly with every ounce of its meager excuse for an existence. An existence which is programmed, installed, and updated by the state. Vanguarding the normie as its agent of consumption, conformity, and obedience. The reality of the normie is consensus. The lifeblood of the normie is judgment. The god of the normie is bureaucracy.
Wow, that was a lot of eye contact.
You are really something special, man.
Oh, you think so? Most women don't really understand any of that. Well, I suppose you're pretty easy on the eyes yourself.
Oh, no.
All right, well, why don't we go out sometime, you and me, you know? We can talk a little more, and I can tell you about my paludariums. They're like terrariums, but with fish.
Oh, you're not joking, you poor creature.
If you spent any time online at all, it's likely you've encountered the word normie. It's a word born from internet users in obscure online forums used to describe the kind of people that you typically wouldn't find in obscure online forums. People outside of the club. People who are probably totally unaware and unbothered as to the existence of this club, but nonetheless outside of it. In fact, there are many clubs that being an outsider of might earn you the title of normie, depending who you're talking to. A metalhead might call someone whose favorite artist is Dua Lipa a normie. A D&D dungeon master might cast the word normie against anyone who prefers more simple and straightforward tabletop games like Catan or Power Slap. A hardcore Manospherian dude might name anyone who doesn't subscribe to his black pill matrix philosophy an Agent Smith, an NPC, or a normie. So normie is definitely an in-group, out-group identifier, but according to the internet, there's more to it still. The common ground between the normies from my last three examples is that their ideas are less fringe or niche, and more generally what is done or believed by the majority of others. The normie is then by definition conventional. You might also hear mainstream. Let's use that. Okay, so you're into mainstream stuff. You listen to top hits on the radio, watch all the currently trending TV shows, and don't hold any particularly wild or outlandish opinions about politics or the world. You're a normie, right? Well, not quite, but we're getting closer. All right, so we live on this planet, which is in this solar system, which is in this galaxy, which is part of this universe, which is overall pretty big and pretty complex. And on that planet of ours, we live with each other, and sometimes we get on, and sometimes we don't, and overall, it's pretty big and it's pretty complex. And not only do we live, but we also die, and there's lots of different ideas around that, and overall, it's pretty big and it's pretty complex. Now, these complexities are to some people engaging, fascinating, and inspiring, and to others, none of those things at all. Some of us are utterly crippled when faced with these aspects of our realities. Others, totally uninterested, totally unbothered. This is where we find the last piece of the puzzle for defining the normie in a general, less malicious sense. The normies seem to be not only comfortable in the mainstream, but comfortable with surface-level engagements to these complexities relating to our reality, life, death, and meaning. They're relatively content going about their lives like tourists, going to all the popular spots, sticking with their little group, following directions of where to go and what to do, taking lots of photos along the way, of course, and contently nodding along as their guide says, "This is how it is," without ever thinking to raise their hand and ask the question, why? Now, whether or not you're okay with labeling this type of person or calling them names, you have to admit they do exist. I've met plenty of people like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have too. And look, I'll be honest, I find there is a remarkable difference in relating to someone who's sort of touristing through life versus someone who's curious and actively exploring and seeking to understand some of these complexities about our reality. Now, let's take a second to explore this a little bit. Why is this the case? What causes us to be so different in these ways? It's said you can only meet someone at the depth they've met themselves, but how can that seemingly be so different between us? Well, I suspect it's because we just have different personalities. We're all made up of sub-personalities and traits that each operate to different degrees and together constitute the whole. The widely accepted Ocean framework names the 5 big personality traits as openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Let's take a quick look at them. Openness. This is the creative and intellectual trait. It measures creativity, curiosity, and interest in the abstract. High scorers are creative, artistic, and unconventional. Low scorers are more traditional, preferring concrete facts over abstract concepts. Now, openness is also the intellectual trait, but just quickly, intellect is not the same as intelligence. Intellect is the capacity for abstract reasoning, deep thinking, and understanding. Intelligence is the general ability to learn, adapt, and solve problems. You can actually be low in intellect and high in intelligence, and vice versa. Okay, moving on. Conscientiousness. This is the industrious and orderly trait. It measures self-discipline, organization, and productivity. High scorers are reliable, organized, and motivated to keep busy. Low scorers are more disorganized and spontaneous. They struggle more with procrastination and are generally less driven. Extroversion! This is the outgoing and enthusiastic trait. It measures assertiveness and social energy. High scorers get energized from social environments like parties and don't mind being a little bit big and loud to get some attention. Low scorers are what we call introverts. They have a limited capacity for social interaction and find highly stimulating social environments quite draining. They don't find being alone by themselves too uncomfortable. Agreeableness. This is the polite and friendly trait. It measures kindness, compassion, and cooperation. High scorers are compassionate, self-sacrificing, and altruistic. They don't like conflict. Low scorers are more competitive and challenging. They're more skeptical and might be more argumentative, stubborn, or cynical. Neuroticism. This is the stability trait. It measures emotional stability and reactivity. High scorers are prone to stress, anxiety, irritability, and sadness. Low scorers are generally more calm, stable, and emotionally resilient. Now, these 5 personality traits are a big deal to us. They heavily influence our value structure and therefore our goals and our behavior. For example, someone who's high in extroversion really values time with other people, and so they seek to orientate their life to include as much time socializing with others as possible. Someone low in conscientiousness places far more value on freedom and flexibility in their lives, and so they're far less likely to live by a strict strict and regimented daily routine like someone who's high in conscientiousness would. Each trait follows a normal distribution across the population, with every individual scoring uniquely across the 5. Okay, so where does our normie that we've defined fit in here? Well, considering they're more conventional and less interested in artsy and abstract ideas, we could consider them low in openness, therefore low in creativity and intellect, which is not the same as intelligence, remember. We'll get to that shortly. Now, when it comes to the 4 remaining traits, let's remember our normie is relatively comfortable in the mainstream, so holds down a job, probably gets on reasonably well with others, goes to parties now and then, experiences mental distress, yes, but not cripplingly so. We'd imagine they score average across the remaining traits. Okay, so what's people's issue with the normie? Well, this is perhaps where we ought to identify the innate condescension and arrogance in the term normie. I don't think I've ever seen or heard normie used as a compliment. In my experience, it's always used as a pejorative by someone who is judging others and tacitly inferring their own superiority by establishing the normie as lesser in some capacity. Less informed because they don't know about some random political theory. Less tasteful because they didn't enjoy some obscure artsy film. Less interesting because their hobbies are team sports instead of something more eccentric like ants. Less thoughtful, less creative, less important, with the ultimate underlying inference being less valuable. And that's being gentle. You'll also see things like interacting with normies is utterly insufferable. I think of normies like I think of a zombie horde. A normie is a spineless, mindless sheep clone. The archetype I have in my mind of the kind of individual who frequently and disparagingly uses the word normie when describing others is that of the socially underdeveloped introvert, the neurotic internet dweller who's not particularly high in compassion, but certainly is an intellect. The person I'm imagining is intelligent, maybe even remarkably so, and it is in that intelligence that they derive value. Now, we've got to reconcile the fact that intelligence is variable across a population. Like the big 5 personality traits, IQ typically follows a normal distribution. So there are a lot of people out there who are really smart, and there's also a lot of people out there who are not. And that's just life. Well, does that mean that these guys are any less valuable? Well, maybe for certain specific roles, but as people? Of course not. Well, what about these guys? They're smarter. Are they more valuable? Well, again, in certain specific roles, maybe, but as people, not necessarily. I'm far more afraid of an evil, intelligent person than an evil, stupid one. It is essential to note here that there is no correlation at all between intelligence and morality. Being smart is no evidence at all that you're a good person. It's also no evidence that you're wise. Being smart might mean knowing more than others, but being wise means also knowing others know things you don't. And of course, not all things that people do that have high ethical utility lie within the intellectual domain. Like we were saying earlier, the world is big and complex, and there's lots of different helpful things for people to find to do within it, regardless of their IQs or personalities. I am damn grateful to the scientists and engineers that design and organize the supply chain that allows me to go down to the supermarket and buy food. I'm damn grateful to the farmers who grow it, and when I've opened up all my packets and tins and containers and thrown them in the bin out front my house, I am damn grateful to the fellas who swing by at 4:30 in the morning on a garbage truck to come and collect it. I highly doubt all those people have the same personalities or IQs, but they're all helping this project of civilization. They're all essential for us to live our lives the way we do. All of them are valuable. And of course, that's not only just because of their jobs. It's because they're people too, man. People are profoundly complex, each and every one of us living in our own detailed world with desires and fears and hopes and dreams, just like you, just like me. We live in this incredibly reductionist world. You see it everywhere. Many complex and nuanced world issues are painted as black and white. Highly intricate, highly complicated regional disputes are explained as good guys, bad guys. By calling someone a normie, we reduce a complex individual with a unique and rich inner life to the single shallow characteristic of conformity. It makes an individual's behavior easier to explain, with the only minor consequence being that of disrespecting their humanity. We have to be careful of this. It's very easy to do. You see it in politics a lot when people are talking about the others across the political aisle. It's very convenient to imagine the other guys as stupid and beneath you, but it's also incredibly pretentious and an essential ingredient to increased societal fragmentation. I can think of in my mind many people who accurately fit the description of the normie we've created today. Mainstream for sure. Deep thinkers, certainly not. Followers, not leaders. But also, really lovely people. People who are high in agreeableness, warm and kind-hearted, the kind of people who go out of their way to help strangers, and the kind of person you would be very grateful to find lives next door to you. There's real value in that. I know people who don't have a single creative bone in their body, but they make damn fine doctors. Okay, so maybe the doctor at the local hospital can't possibly comprehend why I spent 2 weeks of my life making an internet video about feet, but he can pretty effectively diagnose my symptoms. That's fine by me. Let's also for a second consider this normie life, where the great complexities of our reality don't really bother you that much. You're not losing any sleep about the big frightening mystery of what happens after death or how insignificantly small we are in the universe. You mostly just show up to work and hang out with your friends and enjoy and progress your life without any existential spiraling. That sounds pretty good. I've not heard of anyone with a towering intellect that isn't a little tormented from it. Have you heard of Flowers for Algernon? I'd really recommend it. It's a beautiful and tragic little story about this guy with this profound intellectual disability who undergoes an experimental operation which grants him this expanding intelligence which eventually becomes staggering, but the higher his IQ goes, the more he feels isolated isolated from others, alone in the world, and the more he suffers. Not everybody is equipped or even interested in engaging in high-level discussions of abstractions or creative ideas, and if that's where your brain is at as a baseline, you're probably going to experience loneliness because of it. And if you relate to that, what I just said there, don't be arrogant about it. Don't look down on others who don't have the same hardware. Be grateful for your intelligence and terrified of your ego, lest you fall in love with your own intellect and start non-ironically calling people normies. If you're an intelligent, free-thinking person, you have a responsibility to use your gifts for good. There's going to be a bit of a challenge for humility in your life, and to always remember to think of and treat your fellow man with the same dignity and respect you yourself feel entitled to. Good luck. Look, we gotta work together out here, guys. The big dogs at the top of the hierarchies of civilization, I don't really know if they have the best interests of us grunts at the bottom in mind. I think maybe they want more of what they got, and they're principally concerned about looking out for themselves and each other. If you're smart, free-thinking, and interested in what's going on in the world, keep watching, listening, and learning, and with respect and humility. Try keep the rest of us informed too, please. Let's make sure we don't let the wool get collectively pulled over our eyes out here, okay? Us regular folk working out here to prop this whole system up, we're together in that, all right? Internet dweebs and basic ass normies included. Thanks for watching, Normie.